Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Fengyun Dota 2 battle. Here we have, of course, a best-of-3 series between Dreamtime and New Elite. It is, of course, game number 2. Thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. My name is Malt. With me tonight is Base Kip. How are you, sir?
Doing very well, and you, Malt?
I mean, I'm not doing bad. We saw a pretty good game coming out from both sides. Obviously, a little bit more one-sided than you would like to expect here for DT going their way. The draft went their way as well. A little bit of an unorthodox, I guess you could say, kind of draft, but you know, it was really good, honestly. I was really surprised with how well they played, and the Dark Series will, I think, rounded their playstyle to a good degree.
Okay, so we called the draft from any familiar. Do you think it would be too much of a stretch to maybe call it a little bit outdated?
I don't think it's a stretch. I think that's correct. I think saying that is actually fairly correct, because it feels like it feels stale right now. Just like you know how to play it. Yeah, exactly. You know how to play against it. You know what exactly to expect from it. You know what the lanes are going to be. I mean, like, you look at one side, you're like, okay, how are they going to lane this right now on the side of DT? You look at the other side, you're like, oh, yep, that's there, and that's another place. So switch it up, I feel like. Annie, come on, let's get some crazy heroes going. Let's see, like a Huskar or something. Just kidding, don't do that.
What's wrong with Huskar, man? Okay, I don't mind this. I like the Crystal Maiden. And DT actually just pick up the Rubik really early. We have seen a really high priority placed on this Rubik so far this evening or this morning. So I'm a little bit surprised, honestly.
Yeah, color me surprised as well. You know, and I thought it was just kind of like, I thought it was just like the teams and what they had valued playing, but the more I see the Rubik, it's clear that it's a trend, especially in Chinese Dota. Any going for, not necessarily unorthodox, but a draft that'll certainly help them. And yes, you know what's coming, but like, how are you going to stop a Bristleback even though what's coming? It's just like, all right, we have to play against this hero now. Great, nice, a lot of fun. So
yeah, I think the other thing about the Rubik is that every support player just loves to play it, and for the most part, support players are not for the most part, but I guess like 60% of the time, your support players are your drafters as well. Though I wouldn't necessarily pin it on that. Also, like, I guess as a drafter, it's a hero that you're like, yeah, I don't really mind having a Rubik on my team. You're not going to
complain about it. You're just like,
yeah, exactly.
It's going to work well. I mean, it's got a disable. It's got a decent nuke. It has a passive that works really well that people actually kind of forget to think about for a good point. And then it's got an incredible ultimate that is so very versatile. And I think versatility is the name of the game right now, at least in this kind of Dota. So I like it a lot. And then the Chen coming out from DT as well. And we saw this in the last game, I think. It was I think, NE picking up the two supports early on. And it didn't work out for them. So with DT now, you know what's coming. I mean, you know that they need a mid here, they need a carry as well. So, like, NE's banned out a couple of things, including the Weaver and the Dragon Knight. I'm not sure they were going to pick that up anyways. So I think DT is going to get away with a nice draft, even though they've picked up the two supports this early.
Yeah, I think the Dragon Knight is a fine ban. I'm not so sold on the Weaver, but NE might have something in mind where they don't have a lot of lockdown to deal with him. So I just want to get him out of the pool immediately. I think the Timber Saw is still worth mentioning for DT. Here, it's a nice way to just add a little bit of extra burst damage against the Bristle. And when you pick up Rubik as one of your supports, your cores do need to do a little bit more heavy lifting as far as damage is concerned. So could be a nice pickup for them.
Agreed. I think Timber Saw would work really well in their lineup currently, and just throw him in the off lane, let him get levels, and then you've got enough versatility with your supports. Wow, a Bat Rider. Interesting. I like this a lot, though.
Okay.
I do like this. And we were talking about NE being a little bit outdated, but like, these are heroes, like, you think about the IO, that's not picked up that much anymore. Then the Bat Rider, like, what is it, 6.78? Come on now.
Dire team pick.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see the Bat, especially given that we already have the chance. There's no chance that it's just a greedy jungle bat. That one option that you can run him in is pretty much completely off the table. So he either has to be mid, or he has to be in the off lane at this point. It'll be interesting to see what DT do with them. I do like it as far as just, if any are going to go for this all-in kind of 5-man strategy, you can always have the Bat Rider to be your perfect initiation. Set up a fight, and then any have to decide whether or not they want to take a fight on DT's terms, or if they're just going to back off until they let somebody respawn. So,
team pick.
Yeah. Bat Rider, it's old school, but I'm okay with it.
And then you couple it up with a Lifestealer and that initiation with Infest, And we saw in Ace League last night, Yao on LGD had a very good puck with the Lifestealer inside of him from Rabbit, and they did so much damage. And Batrider's a similar vein there, but they pick up the Clinkz, and I think this is a huge pickup because he's that Orchid carrier that you need against a Batrider to catch him out of position. Same with the Lifestealer as well. So Any's draft, I feel, is miles better than what they had in the previous game. This is not stale. This is new meta. This is CM, Nyx Assassin, Bristleback, Clinkz. All of these heroes are so strong in the current metagame, and hopefully they combine up to have a very nice time in this game. So Any looking strong, but I don't mind DT's draft either.
I really like the Clinkz pickup. You've got, and just in general, their lineup, it works really well around the Crystal Maiden. All of the heroes are, especially the Bristleback and the Clinkz, are both great with Arcane Aura. And Clinkz against Chen, I think goes to that saying that that's great, but also against the Lifestealer. If you Orchid the Lifestealer, he's pretty much useless. Yeah. He's just done. So I think a really nice pickup here for Any, and they haven't even dipped into their bonus time just yet, so it looks like they've sort of found their feet after game one.
Yeah, absolutely, and we talked about what they needed to do, and they needed to start at the draft and have something go their way with the picks, and I think the Bristleback started that off with the Crystal Maiden as well. The fact that they get a Clinkz is pretty nice on top of that. So DT seems to be the one kind of thinking about what they want to do with their draft right now. They've got the Chen, they've got the Rubik, they've got the Batrider. The question is, are they going to lane this Batrider mid? In all likelihood, yes. You could throw him in the jungle, but with the Chen, that's probably unlikely. You can throw him in an off lane, which works as well, but we'll see if they do want to do that. I'm inclined to believe that this is an offlane hero coming out for DT as of right now. You think the same?
Yeah, I think it's still going to be the offlane for them. Any ban the TA though, so they think that it's a mid.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I guess they're not wrong, right? I guess Viper mid lane.
Yeah. I mean, the other option for DT is probably not going to happen. One thing that we have been seeing IG running a little bit recently is the safe lane Viper super fast mech, but I don't think that they don't have a particularly great matchup mid for the Lifestealer. So I think it's just going to be Viper mid, off lane Bat, and then Lifestealer farming.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will see them, I think, probably go down that route. We'll have to check that out in just a moment. We're going to jump into game number 2. Looks like we have no pauses to start this game. I'm crossing my fingers. Hope it continues that way because, let's be honest, pauses are a little bit of a buzzkill, but still, we are going to jump into the game, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, it's game number 2 here between DT and NE. It's a best-of-3 series. Loser of the series will, in fact, go home. Round of 16 right now, single elimination, but let's go ahead and get some introductions going here on the side of DT. Once again, we've got Zhao Chulei on the Lifestealer. We'll have Dreamy U on the Rubik up in that top lane, and to help them out is going to be, of course, Super on that Chen in the jungle. In the mid lane, we will see Air up on the Viper. Both him as well as Super supported LGD International as they went ahead, of course, in WPC Ace League, and, of course, battled it out with VG Gaming. And then to round it all out, down in that bottom lane, we have In July on the Batrider and Base Kip. Why don't you go ahead and do of course, the Radiant team here.
30 seconds. So very quickly over on Any, we have Long handling the Bristleback. It's going to be Shiki heading towards mid as your Windrunner, Windranger, whatever you want to call it. ZCD is going to be on the Clinkz. We've got A over on the Nyx Assassin, and last but certainly not least, we have Shauna on the Crystal Maiden.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is going to be it. It looks like defensive tri-lanes coming out for both sides as of right now. It looks like, well, a pseudo tri-lane. Obviously, the Chen is more of the jungler, so he can roam in whenever necessary. So the dual lane there, down bottom, it is going to be that off-lane Batrider like we talked about. And then mid-lane Viper, who should do okay here, especially since it's against a Windranger, but she's got that potential to win run away and actually be aggressive with the Shackle Shot as well. I like the fact that they threw the Windranger there and not anything else like the Bristleback.
Yeah, the Windranger should do just fine. She's got a Null Talisman picked up the start as well, so should be able to get her initial CS. And once she gets her bottle, it's just going to be Power Shout spam all day. And that's the problem for the Viper against heroes that have a lot better lane control than him. He just gets the creep wave pushed into his tower nonstop and can't really do much. So I think Shiki should be fine. I think the one big feature is just how these NE supports allocate their time. They either need to camp the Batrider to death, or they need to camp the Viper out of the game, one or the other.
Yeah. And right now they're actually kind of making Batrider's life not necessarily miserable, but they're keeping an eye on him. You could see the Nyx Assassins just zoning him out once again, and the Batrider should be able to get levels as long as his Firefly is up and available, and they do have disables to take him down, though, so that is something to keep in mind. Obviously, the Crystal Maiden with one of those, and on the other side, the Nyx Assassin stun. In July, we'll go ahead and get a free regen rune, not that it really matters. Roaming through to the bottom lane is actually going to be the Chen. He might just counter ward here. He has that sentry up and available, and he might just counter ward and head back up to the jungle and just saying, hey, here's your ward. It's gone now, though. Bye.
And this is the big thing about placing your wards early. Now that they have a 7-minute duration, it means a lot for spotting your opponent's wards, and also you've only got one pack at the start. So now DT know that there is no vision for the Radiant on that side of the map, and you never place 2 rune wards, so they have no idea where the rune is either. That means that you know that the supports might be camping them, and you can account for the fact that any are going to have to adjust or just not get any runes.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal, actually, and it might seem small at the time, but and then the lack of vision on the map is kind of outstanding for NE right now. They've really got no real vision other than this lane ward down here, which isn't providing them a lot of stuff they don't know already. And of course the group wave is up there, ready to go, just pushing in clearly. Z is getting a lot of farm though, 10 and 4, not too bad, and in comparison to the Lifestealer at the top lane, who's 7 and 2. So it's going to come down to, I think, who gets the farm early on. Obviously, I don't think they're too concerned as long as In July is getting at least some experience as well. So for now, no kills, no aggressive play. You know, we haven't seen any roams just yet onto mid. So I think that'll be a big pickup as well, whoever roams first.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to see some movement out of either support team fairly soon. There is actually a smoke over on Dreamy Use, so could just be the Chen and the Rubik making the first move over towards mid.
Yep, and especially since he's got that Dark Troll Summoner on the Chen, Super says, well, maybe we want to go here. He also has Test of Faith, which is only level 1, so the damage is, it's not bad. The max damage is 100, which is never a bad thing, so it just depends when they want to be aggressive. And it's the same thing, though, on the Radiant team. They also have that dual roaming support potential, and there's that smoke up on their Crystal Maiden, so it comes down to saying, hey, can we try to get this Wind Ranger? It's obviously a little bit difficult because of Wind Run and the fact that they don't have boots yet or anything like that. So top lane, though, it looks like there's going to be some initiation here on the Bristleback. He's got 1 point into his passive already, which makes him a bit tankier. So they've got to be careful as well as the Quill Spray. So nothing doing there in the top lane.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it was the Rubik who stacked this camp or if it was the Bristleback, but I'm not super sold on the fact that the Rubik is continually trying to run this side pull. To me, it just kind of feels like more experience for the Bristle, and they can't really fight him off. He can just sit down in the river if he really wants to. It's just additional farm for him.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's something you don't want to give. They are going to telekinesis him back. The open wounds is going to fly now. Damage is not really enough just yet. Fadebolt doing some work, but it looks like the Bristleback shall get away, and that's just not the damage that they needed. Obviously, Bristleback's passive doing work in that regard, and if he didn't have it, he's dead for sure. I'm 100% sure about it.
Yeah, he's definitely saved by the Bristleback there. Super is just camping out this haste rune over on the top side. Shiki's going to poke his head in and see what's going on, but just going to have to head straight back towards mid.
Yeah, he was looking for that rune. Obviously can't grab it now with, of course, the supports roaming through. Once again, that's without vision, so they kind of had just to say, okay, we'll sit here at the 4-minute rune spawn, see what we can find. And actually, rotating out of that bottom lane was In July. He decided not to stay there right now. He is level 4. The Bristleback is level 5, so he's getting more. There's no lasso yet, but they could try to grab the kill with, of course, the bottled haste rune. And look for something, and the telekinesis should fly. The Firefly, the sticky napalm's going, the open wounds, and honestly, the Bristleback should die here. I'd be very surprised to see him live, and he will fall. The Quill Spray is doing a decent chunk of damage, but First Blood goes to the Fade Bolt of Dreamy U.
I mean, it's weird to see the Batrider move all the way from bottom lane to top, but I think definitely worthwhile at the end of the day. And might even be able to put some pressure on this tier 1. The response from NE is also just going to be to push into this tier 1 tower. It looks like they should be able to grab it, but I think it's First Blood, definitely worth it for DT there. Yeah,
absolutely, and actually they don't really put any pressure on this tower at all, which is surprising. They decide not to push into it, and while that happens, they trade a tier 1 for nothing, so it gives room to Z to farm, and gold as well that, you know, you really didn't need to get him, but still not that bad. I mean, First Blood is always a nice pickup anyways, so the game continues onward. And in the mid lane, Shiki's just taking right clicks, poison attacks to the back of that. He's like, alright, that's annoying, but still, Viper is level 6. He actually used his Viper Strike not too long to put some damage onto Shiki. It looks like Shiki, of course, is salving up, and his bottle is crowing, so he's not too concerned about it. Tier 2 tower is actually taking some damage down in that bottom lane as well. They're not rotating anybody through. They don't have time to, you know, push this back just yet. Super is only level 4, so he doesn't want to fight this early on, and it looks like DT are just playing very patiently, whereas last game they were very aggressive in their playstyle and looking for kills. It's kind of the exact opposite, I feel like, in this game.
Yeah, and July still has this haste, so I don't know if they can kill him here.
They'd have to get some nice combined up, stuns or at least disables with the Frostbite, and then really get some just straight up damage from Z. And well, it looks like, the Haste Rune is going to go now, so he's still okay, and he's going to Firefly and just try to soak up this experience for the time being. In fact, just try to be annoying. You can see he's pushing them back. The Frostbite's going to go. This might be a bad idea. Nyx Assassin's done the right clicks. Wow, he misplayed that horribly. Crystal Maiden grabs the kill.
Always crystal clear.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it. He was just like, oh, I've got a Haste Rune, I'm invincible. Like, there's no way. And then he just... Nicely played by A. He runs into the Firefly with the Carapace up, but that's not too exceptional a play. Looks like Long's gonna get jumped again top lane. Should be brought down. One more Heartbeat Zap. Finishes him off.
Yep, that easy coming out. So they do lose their Batrider, but they pick up a kill, helping Lifestealer farm a little bit more, make room for himself. The Chen gets it and puts him up to level 5. Level 6 is what he wants. And he's gonna get his Arcanes now. Arcanes really of course, early Buckler, early headdress along those lines, but that'll be solved by getting a tower, which they're doing right now on that top lane. No rotations coming through, even though any, I think, could push them back pretty effectively. They have their support, which I believe is Shauna sitting mid right now in that Crystal Maiden, and they'll just stay here for now, and maybe even looking for a gank on air, who's actually going to be the mech carrier for Viper. So I talked about the mech, and it's actually going to be the Viper picking it up.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
DT already getting the bits and pieces that they need to start 5-manning. Lifestealer, yeah, he's just working on an early game build, probably drum into Armlet from here, and they still are going to be waiting for quite a bit of farm over on the Clinkz. So again, it's still up to the supports, the Crystal Maiden, the Nyx Assassin, to be making some space. And while they did get that kill on the Batrider bot, again, I think that was a misplay from the Bat as opposed to good time allocation by the NE supports.
Radiant's top tower
yeah, I agree.
I would have liked to have seen maybe one gank on mid on the Viper or something like that, especially given for a really long time there wasn't a Batrider on bottom lane. I think the supports were just pulling and jungling during that time.
Yeah, they could have, I think, been more effective in what they've done with roaming, even going up into the jungle, the top jungle, going mid like you mentioned. And really, they just have left this Viper alone, and he's actually getting his mech rather quickly because of it. The double damage rune is going to help out on the tower, but he's actually taking a lot of damage in return. The top tier 1 tower did go down in the end. It was actually denied, I think, from the Bristleback, which...
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Didn't notice that, but Smoke Gank is going to come out now for Bristleback and the rest of the NE squad, and they're going to look... You can see they draw that arrow around. They're going to try to go mid, it looks like, with this gank.
Dire's bottom tower is under
Air is actually going to be a little bit more of a nuisance than you would expect because he has 4 points in Corrosive Skin. I think they should still kill him. Yeah, he's sitting all the way down in the river.
He is very...
Maybe he can run south. Nice.
He's out of position. That Shackle Shot did latch. Air is going to fall here, doing a bit of damage with Corrosive Skin, not nearly enough. And Zhao Tule looks at that and he says, no, that's okay. I'll just let him die. And he falls back, and actually he has to rage out right now. He took some damage there. Actually, I think got frostbitten or something along those lines, so... He'll make his way out of there. Luckily, he's actually kind of low, so he has to maybe think about going home. He can infest in a creep if necessary, and maybe even look for an infest bomb out, but I doubt that. So, nice play to get that pickoff on air, which we talked about them needing to shut down.
Yeah, this game is looking a lot more solid than game 1. They got the deny on the tower, so they're slowing down that income of gold. And I mean, DT have a bunch of heroes that benefit a lot from those little bits of gold early on. The Lifestealer is building a bunch of cheap components for his armlet or his drum. The mech sort of trickles in for the Viper, so that the economic damage that they did by getting that deny is pretty big. But DT just going for a smoke of their own. They've got the lasso ready. Shiki considers going for the illusion, but nopes right out of there. That's
one of the heroes I feel like you don't want to try to find in a smoke. It's just unfortunate. It was that Wind Ranger, and so they weren't really quite ready for that initiation. They are going to roam top, and this is kind of a gank train, and Bristleback's actually kind of way out of position. Lasso is going to come. Bristleback's still inherently tanky, but not so much that he should live from this. Test of Fate, Telekinesis. It's all of the damage coming in right now from DT, and an easy kill going their way because of it.
It's a shame that it's not in a lane where there's a tier 1 tower for them to push down, so they're all kind of hyped up, and now they've got nowhere to go, and actually people have to TP bottom lane to deal with the Clinkz.
Yeah, so they wanted more than that. You can see it, and you mentioned, off the back of that, you want to
Air
get
gets jumped mid. Can they line up the Shackle on the creep? They can. Hand of God's going to keep him up for the time being. He's very tanky. He's very annoying to bring down. The Hand of God's actually going to keep him alive, and that Corrosive Skin does work.
Yeah, Shauna now getting initiated. Too much damage from the life, so the rage is up as well. Open Wounds was already used. Infest is on cooldown. How does that fight turn into 1-for-0 for DT? You mentioned the tankiness. Wow.
Corrosive Skin, man. It's no joke.
It's quite the ability. It's a little bit like Bristleback, almost just as annoying. No. Still though. That's a 1-for-0 trade right there for DT in the end. Viper being a nuisance once more with his Viper Strike, securing a kill. The Lifestealer, of course, getting the last hit, which is exactly what they needed. The Shackle shots were on point for Shiki, and have been. It's just it wasn't enough to take down that hero.
Nice deny by Airbot. Z had just spent the last, like, 2 or 3 minutes working away at that, and Air pops in, gets the deny, and Z has to kind of back off. He's doing really well. He's almost got his Orchid finished, so this game is... I think this is still definitely anybody's game. We've also got the Batrider Blink Dagger coming out, I believe, so next couple of minutes are absolutely crucial.
Yeah, and the actual Infest Bomb is up and ready for in July, and well, with the double damage, G was thinking about running at him, but they decided to back off, obviously. And the Blink Dagger is now up and ready. The Smoke of Deceit's going to follow afterwards, so 2 heroes are committed to the Skank, and maybe even Air roams through once this creep wave is dead. The Medallion of Courage now in Chen, so if they want to go for a Roshan with that dire advantage, they certainly can. In the meantime, though, it's all about finding somebody out, and maybe Shanna and Z are the prime targets here as they are sitting in the jungle right now. The smoke is going to come through, and July with the blink. He's got dust as well, so there's only going to be a moment's notice before they can get out of there. However, they don't go any further. They don't venture down into the jungle to find any pick-offs. They're just okay with going in lane and maybe trying for this tower.
Yeah, and there's a huge number of pickups all at the same time. We've almost got the Orchid finished. We've got a mech on each side for the Windrunner and for the Viper. Like you said, the Medallion on the Chen, and we've also got this Blink Dagger picked up. So at this point, it comes down to initiation, your movement around the map, keeping track of all of your TPs, and we might have a little bit of trading going on here, or there'll be a couple of team fights. We'll have to see.
Yep, because they can take this tower, maybe go for some TPs right now. It looks like, though, the Viper doesn't have one, so if they're going to TP, they're not going to defend. They look like they just want to farm. The Streamyu's in the mid lane right now, but the tier 1 follow tower should fall there. The top lane, you can see the Batrider actually rotated top, so they're just going to farm their own devices, get the last hit on the tower, let the tier 1 tower make go, and just try to make more room for everybody on the map right now. Well, unless... Nope, they are going to TP in. Alright, I'm wrong. Look at that. And you can see the Bristleback's getting chased and poison attack's going to go. The TPs are, however, too late. They do get the deny on the tower, which is a big pickup. I didn't think they were going to go for that, surprisingly enough. They did.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Got it, and DT just swings straight to the Roshan pit. This is a really ballsy move. The chances are pretty good that any have spotted this, that they have a ward in this area, but they're just trying to force a fight in. If any know about it, they're not really reacting. So it looks like DT just going to get Roshan for free. Yeah, the last couple of minutes working out great for them.
Yeah, it really has. They started off maybe a bit slow, but with this Roshan, it's going to give them, if not a sizable lead, at least something to work with. And it's actually a 1,500 gold lead as of right now, and dipping a bit more. Plus the 3,000 experience lead. You mentioned how there's, they needed vision. They didn't have a sentry ward, or excuse me, a ward there to grab vision for the Radiant team, so that Roshan was blind. Any rotate and smoke up top. They're going to look for a tier 1 tower, it looks like, and try to grab at least another objective here. But with that, it means that they're going to trade for another tier 1, and I don't know if this is the best idea. They may even go for 2 here. They're actually smoked up ready for rotations coming in from DT, but they're not going to make that mistake of heading up there now.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
So the game continues onward. Another map objective taken now for any, and perhaps another tier 2 tower lies in wait for them. But Batrider and Festbomb is up and ready to go. They've got to know something's going on up there. The map is dark. There's an observer ward here for the Radiant team, but in July is going to avoid it. It looks like. I don't know if they have vision here. The tower is taking a bit of damage. Is there a fortification available? It looks like not. Now Annie's backing off. The fight is getting tense right now. They have this ward, so they know the heroes are coming. And so they'll just back.
Neither team wants to be the one initiated on. Neither team wants to risk losing a fight. I mean, aside from the fact that tier 1 tower got denied mid, the last couple of minutes have been pretty much dead even in terms of trades. It's tower for tower. A little bit of advantage, obviously, for DT. They got the deny, they got Roshan, so they've still got that golden experience, and they've still got the Aegis up as well. But yeah, both teams are playing pretty cautiously right now.
Yeah, and that might very well change because Z is stalking this Chen, and he can try to initiate. I mean, Chen's not the tankiest hero, especially when an Orchid's on you, and there's no help. So here it goes, Death Pact first, and really super strong to run away, but that's just too much damage. Clinkz grabs that kill with, of course, So we'll continue moving on, as the Chen does pick up his Force Staff at least before he dies, which is never a bad thing, obviously, but still. 16 minutes in, the game's gotten a little bit stale. Obviously, the Clinkz pick up his Orchid is a very nice pickup. He has the most net worth in the game. Lifestealer, you mentioned, his items were trickling in. He still doesn't have that armlet yet. He has the Aegis on him. And this is the time, well, actually, just flies out to him right now, so, yep, just kidding. But this is the time where I think the Dire team, DT, maybe want to start being more aggressive. They have the Aegis. Why not? Do something with it.
Yeah, they definitely have, I think, the edge with the Aegis, so should probably go and try and make use of it. And both teams are kind of 5-manning right now. NE because they're afraid of a Batrider jumping one of them and doing something, and DT because they're afraid of the Nyx Assassin and the Clinkz. They're just plopping down sentry wards wherever they go, trying to bait out air here on the mid lane, in fact. But NE back off, looks like that's going to start pulling the farm a little bit over into their favor, but yeah, DT I think you're gonna try and 5-man for sure. They still have the lasso up, and they've even got a gem on in July now.
Yeah, I mean they have, I think, the tier 1 of items, and they need to make use of it with that Aegis, and in conjunction with that, just be aggressive, blink, just to of course in this creep camp, just to try to get a couple last hits for his team. They're making room here, of course, in the top rune spot, right around the Ro16 pit. They're gonna head and maybe do some team bonding around the ancient stack here, if you will, and also make room, of course, for Lifestealer down in that bottom lane. So, they talk about 5-man, but still nothing's happening. And maybe a smoke coming out. Maybe they want to wait for some items here. Obviously, Air has that Ogre Club, and they're just walking straight into the jungle. They don't really care. I mean, they know that there's no vision here because they have that gem like you talked about. So, maybe now they look for a kill, but they don't have their Lifestealer, so we'll see.
Yeah, they really want to force a fight. Well, they still have this Aegis up, but NE are doing a really good job of just dodging them for the time being. And they're doing it because they know that they're getting really good farm on the Clinkz, or Blinks, maybe I should call him. He's actually gone for it here.
Yeah, that's the meta right now with the Clinkz. Get that damage coming out from the Orchid, get a Blink Dagger, and maximize that strafe DPS. So with that, it's going to be annoying to deal with. I mean, he'll be in and out of fights like crazy. They do have that gem, though, so they've prepared for it to a certain extent, as much as they can, really. The only problem is with this Clinkz is that he doesn't have a BKB, so he can get bursted down. Obviously, you can kite him through with Viper Strike to a certain extent as well. I'm not sure of how effective that's going to be, though.
Yeah, his positioning needs to be really, really good in these fights. If he gets clipped by something, he's just going to be focused down. So he's definitely going for a more pick-off oriented, more split pushy kind of build. And I think things are still fine for NE. The call that would have been made is just stall out the Aegis, don't fight into that, and they've done exactly that. They haven't given up any tier 2s, they haven't taken any silly fights, they've just been safe and grabbed farm for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, and with that actually gives them, a little bit of a gold lead back. And they're not ahead just yet, but they're getting there. It's 500 gold lead still going for DT, but you look at what happened since the Roshan, and that's exactly it. They've just stalled and made room for the self and farmed, whereas DT, they've been together. That was an interesting dust that they need to pop. They actually smoked up. They got revealed from something. I don't know what happened there in July. I missed it, but he got revealed, and actually so does Super. But now the strafe up on, of course, the tier 1 tower. Excuse me, the last is going to go on through. Z is going to fall. I'm not sure what he was doing there. It wasn't the tower that he was strafing. It was a creep wave, it looks like. Interestingly enough.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the ward spotted the smoke as well, so I don't know what he was up to.
I thought they got rid of that ward, actually. I thought for sure they killed it.
They palmed the gem over to the Viper, and he was just farming mid, so... I don't know what dispelled the smoke either. It might have been the Clinkz just popping in close enough, but they still get the pick off. I don't quite know how. I think the Clinkz was maybe thinking, all right, I can blink out if anything weird happens.
But well, that's
dead.
The case. So the open wounds did go on the bristleback, and the shackle shot's going to fly and latch onto the creep, sadly enough. They're working on this tier 2 tower. Spell was stolen. I'm not sure what. Shackle shot, that was it, actually. Power shot flying through. Viper Strike now going to go on the bristleback, and that'll do some damage to him, as you can clearly see, and he'll back his way out of there. Now the smoke is up as well, so that Aegis is gone, by the way. It has expired. Are they going to wrap around? What are they doing here with the Smoke of Deceit? It looks like they will. They know they're still back top, so...
Lasso's still down for 20 seconds. DT do need to be a little bit careful. Super suspects something weird's happening. He's just hiding back in the trees. Yeah, they even ping the side angle.
Rage going through. Clinkz uses his strafe. Poison attack. Shackle shot not latching somehow onto all three of those heroes. He gets lucky. If that had latched, they might go for a fight there, but decide against it. They're pushed back once more. You can see once again DT really want to force a fight, especially around this tier 2 tower. They have mech up. Viper strikes up in 4. Blink Lasso ready to go, and the Infest out. This is really where, and you need to be careful. There's no Force Theft just yet for the Bat Rider. He doesn't look like he needs it though. The Blink's going to come through. The Lasso now. Clinkz in trouble. Spike Carapace going through the mech. Keeps him alive. No death on the Clinkz yet. Hand of God. There it goes. The Flame Break doing the job there. Viper Strike now on Shauna. Right click's going through. That's a dead CM. The fight is breaking out and hard. Look at the Bristleback. Taking damage. Test of Fate. Penitence. The right click's coming through. Shackle shot. What a shackle. Latches to the Bristle. Easy kill. As of course the Rubik sets that one up. But another one coming through on a 2. It won't matter. It's just some power shot damage. They'll get pushed back. But the tower should fall here after a fortification flies.
Well, we said that the Clinkz needs to have really good positioning if he's going to go for this Blink Dagger build, and he just got completely caught out by the bat. I mean, I think they even saw him there. They're like, Bat's on the cliff, and he was just relying on his team to be able to counter-initiate. I think maybe he wasn't expecting the Lifestealer to pop out and slap him. I think he was expecting that the Bat Rider was just going to try and drag him over the gap, but gets burst down, doesn't manage to get any damage off in the fight, and things are looking pretty good for DT, and Roshan's respawned as well, so they're going to have another 6 minutes of being able to pressure in aggressively with the lead.
Yeah, and it felt like for a period of time there that DT were just going to like let things go the way of any, but they realized that they had waited too long, and they're like, listen, let's make something happen, and they go for that kill on the Clinkz, and yeah, Clinkz did get caught out of position, and Nyx Assassin tried his best with the Spike Carapace to stop anything from happening there, but the rage was up immediately after the Lifestealer came out, so you gotta hand it to DT. Obviously, Clinkz hasn't been playing the best of games, but he's still doing very well and getting towers, getting farm as well. Now he's going for BKB, which he really does need. Obviously, Lasso doesn't really care about a BKB, but pretty much everything else does, so actually instead, well, obviously the Viper Strike on top of that, but you know, they have control now for DT. You mentioned the Roshan. What do they need to do for NE, though? I mean, like, do they contest it? Do they try to smoke up again? Or what?
It's really hard. I think you do have to try and contest the Roshan. In July, finding Invis runes all day. What is going on here? Oh, man, this poor Clinkz. I don't think he has a chance.
Yep. Thank you, Based Ice Frog. In July is saying that very much right now. And he's going to blink Lasso, just catches the tail end of him. You can see the open wounds is going to fly. Spell was stolen. Nice kill. Of course, Rubik comes in and last hits him with like one right click. So, dream of you getting that one. He did steal Skeleton Walk, which that's a very speedy Rubik going through the jungle. So, that's always nice to have.
And Dreamy U has twice as many kills as anybody else in this game. I think he got the first blood as well, the Fade Bolt. So
yep,
he's having a pretty good game. He's a very rich Rubik, 1,300 gold on top of this 4-stat. He manages to find out Cheeky as well.
Yeah, Telekinesis back, but they weren't positioned. Just a little bit of an aggressive play, just to say, hey, we're here, we're ready to go at your tier 2 tower mid, and they will get pushed back. And it looks like that. I think DT pushes in, maybe gets the tower. If they don't, they just back off to Roshan. Shackle Shot did fly, I think, and hit nobody. I'm not sure. No, actually, it didn't. I just heard the sound effect, or at least I thought I did anyway. But so they'll get pushed back. Basher's up now in the lifesteal. The items are coming out, the tier 2 items, if you will, for DT. But NE is not, slouching themselves with their own items.
DT just push in here. NE maybe try and take a fight. Again, it comes down to initiation, and Bat Rider is just the king, unfortunately. So it's really difficult for NE.
Ooh, blink forward. A little too aggressive. Spike Carapace stun. Silence up as well as the Impale. Now the mech. 4-staff back. Fight's breaking out once more. Hand of God flying through Z. 4-staffs himself to safety. Shauna getting right clicked up. Power shot. What a snipe coming out from the Rubik. Flame break. Push them on the high ground. Bristleback not doing nearly enough. Taking too much damage. The healing potential from this Chen out of control. They stay alive again. Look at this. That's an Aghanim Scepter on a Viper too. So they're just going to keep sieging, keep fighting for days for DT. Windrunner, or excuse me, Wind
Lasso's
Ranger.
back. Lasso's up. Hasn't been used.
Yeah, they're still ready to go. But they take the 2-2. I think they back. Nope, just kidding. They're going to blink Lasso in. Now it's going to be a Bristleback going down. That's going to be a big pickup. They do trade 1 for 1 though. The Crystal Bane flying down for the Bat Rider in the end. Viper grabs the kill on the Nyx Assassin. Another great Shackle shot, but what is there to follow up? Not much. Dreamy, you try to get there to maybe Telekinesis, steal the Shackle shot, not able to do so. They'll mech up once more, and now head back to, I guess, a victory, Roche.
Yeah, things are just looking really, really good for DT. I honestly think they're just out-executing any in these fights. Yes, there's a little bit of a drafting advantage as well, just because they have this Batrider initiation, and any are a little bit lacking as far as initiation is concerned. They do have a Blink Dagger up on the Nyx Assassin, but it feels like every single fight it's been DT setting the pace.
It really has felt like that, honestly, and it's just because I think they've just caught heroes out of position. You mentioned the Batrider, that's part of it, as well as just great play coming out from the Rubik and the Viper on top of that. Plus, they just siege for days. They heal up. They say, we're ready to go again. Their ultimates are very low cooldown. I mean, you think about what they've got. Viper Strike's low cooldown. Obviously, Lasso's very low cooldown, and Fest even's pretty low cooldown. So they're not relying on any big team fighting ultimates to say, you know, we have to wait for, you know, like 2 minutes to deal with this. No, we're ready to go again.
And we haven't even seen the full power of DT's initiation. They almost have 3 Force Stabs up. So as soon as Injulai has his, he jumps on somebody, he Force Stabs himself, and then the Rubik and the Chen Force Stab him as well. And whoever is on the end of that lasso is so far away from home. It's absurd.
Yeah, he's feeling pretty sad. Generally because he's dead, so...
Yeah, at that point I would think so.
But now another free Aegis going to the Lifestealer, and this is where it comes down to the make or break time, I think, for any. And the last Roshan, you know, they had, you know, not that big of a deficit. Now it's 7,500. Now they're, you know, behind in terms by a lot of items here, realistically. I mean, you think about, there's Ghost Scepters up now, there's Aghanim Scepters, there's Bashes, Blink Daggers, Force Staves, Boots of Travel. There's just everything they've got to deal with. On the other side of things, Zenny's not too far behind themselves, but, you know, it's that one set of items that they're missing, I feel like, to really get back into this. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they have that tower disadvantage right now. There are no tier 2s left on the map for them. There's still 2 that they have to get for themselves. So we'll see what DT wants to do as they push in down to the bottom tier 3 tower.
And, I mean, Z is close to the Lifestealer in terms of net worth, but in terms of what he's actually doing with that net worth, it's a huge gap.
Blink, lasso up, Viper Strike gets cancelled, was ready to use, but not there. They don't want to use in the Bristleback. Instead, they go on one of the squishy heroes. Bristleback, telekinesis up, test of faith. Is he the first to fall? Yes, he is. Air on the high ground, just going to town. Doesn't care about that tier 3 tower. Meanwhile, though, the Clinkz does go ahead and take that tier 2 up in the top lane. He's been very annoying split pushing, but he's got to get back home now. His tower is home in trouble. Oh my god, this is disgusting. It is an absolute storm out there right now. Tornadoes all over the place. It looks like Kansas out there. The tier 3 tower getting sieged up. There's going to be the fortification.
What good is your Blink Dagger if you're Clinkz or Nyx Assassin against these tornadoes? It's nothing. It's 2.15, you know, it's 2k gold dead in your inventory because of all these tornadoes. I don't know if Super planned this.
It's amazing.
It's working
I love
out
it.
really well.
I love it. The tornadoes are doing work. Shana, not so much. The freezing field gets canceled immediately. Nyx Assassin's Stun did go to work, but only for a bit. Hand of God back out. Now on the other side, Clinkz from the backside trying to do anything. Blink coming through air. Viper Strike on the Clinkz. He'll Shadow Walk away. He'll survive for now. The Bristleback may not be so lucky. Another great Shackle coming through. Now they impale on top of that. Lifestealer stun locked up. Air getting stunned from the spike. Nice Force Staff out. This fight has gone drastically the way of any, but they can't convert on anything just yet. Lifestealer is so low. He's got to look for an Infest. I don't think he's got it. He does, actually. Maybe looking for a creep. No Rax is down yet. And they'll have to back off. And the Wild King Brigade did not do its job, apparently, effectively enough.
Yeah. Well, they didn't lose anything. They still have the Aegis. They still have everybody alive. They got the tier 3. They got half of the life on the range tracks. So I think call it a win for DT. They did end up losing the tier 2 on top, but that was going to happen to the Clinkz at some point, no matter what.
I mean, but that, like, 3 tornadoes, man. That's obscene.
It's too many tornadoes. How do you...
Is it, though? Is it ever too many tornadoes coming out from the Wild Wing?
So if you're buying a Dominator and you're getting a 4th tornado.
Exactly.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, 100% of the time. Works every time. So we'll see what they want to do now. As DT, they've got this advantage, and even with like some of the best initiation from any that they can get, even with some of the best damage they have, they still can't get any kills. And, well, there's a lasso now up on the Clinkz here. We actually see a Rubik roaming through. This might actually be a bad engagement. In July, getting Orchided, and he's going to fall, albeit, though, very quickly. And now on the hunt is going to be Z. Ghost Scepter already went. Force Staff on cooldown now. Batrider buys back. Dreamy U looks like the Impale is going to fly as well. He is actually going to go down. Don't call it a throw, but still not the best engagement. They do take down the Bristleback down in that bottom lane. Another buyback coming through. Who was that from? The
Bat bought back, and then Boots had traveled to the fight.
Okay. Is that it? I thought someone else bought back. It looks like no, but... Yeah, they're going to go down bottom. They're missing the Rubik, but it looks like they're not too concerned about that. So, Tornadoes are up again. One of them, Viper Strike now. Some damage on Shiki, Orc and Malevolence on Zhao Tulei. There's the Bat Rider looking for something. Mech's gonna fly. Test of Faith. Not enough damage on Z. He'll run away. Back to house. But Melee Raxes, that's taking a beating, sadly. So, looks like they'll take their first set of racks now. And it was only a matter of time, I feel, for DT. And with the Bristleback gone, they don't have to worry about any tanky hero ruining their party.
Still got the Aegis up for a bit. This is not the best time for any to be chasing outside of their base. Yeah, DT are just waiting on the hill, hoping that somebody is foolish enough to push out this bottom wave. But any are going to stick together. Lasso's back up, so in we go for another round for DT.
Yep, Blink, Lasso, Spike, Carapace does come out. Not that it matters. He is going to fall down. 4-step forward now. So much damage on Shiki. The right clicks are there from both heroes. Another great Shackle shot. That's on Zhao Tulei. It'll save the Clinkz' life momentarily, but now they turn on the Bristleback. Mech is up. Lasso now on Shiki. Bristle falls as well. Too much damage to deal with. Shiki somehow windrunning alive. That's a bold play to just try to TP there, but unfortunately not working out for them in the end. The only ones to survive is the Clinkz. This will probably be a tier 3 and another set of racks, and even GG. So DT take it in 2.
Very well played by DT. I think it's a real shame because NE put up a lot more of a fight in Game 2 than they did in Game 1. If they'd been in the same kind of form, I think we could have gone to 3 games. But still, congratulations to DT. Looking forward to seeing them advance in the tournament. And definitely, carving out a name for themselves as far as the Chinese scene is concerned at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was really strong play coming out from really just everybody. In July, had some great Blink Lasso initiations. I was very impressed with Super's play as well because, let's be honest, who really goes for the 3 Wildkin strat? But that is going to do it for us here for match number 2, of course. We are going to jump into the 3rd set not too long from now. Of course, if you enjoy the cast, you can follow us. Make sure you follow me at twitter.com/Mont32. Before we head out of here, Baseskip, where can they check you out?
I guess I'll just plug my Twitter. That's twitter.com/Baseskip.
Excellent. So we are going to take a quick break, guys. Stick around. We'll be back with the next match in just a little while.